something that's not a one-day story, and that is the panic that we're seeing right now around the country in terms of the supermarket shelves, toilet paper being sold out. It's all, you know, some of it's hard to fathom, really, in the context. Of course, it's a concern, but toilet paper being sold out around the nation.
This is the biggest issue for Australians at the moment, and the Prime Minister said yesterday Australians were full of common sense, but it doesn't appear the case on this issue. Now, there's been some talk from senior members of government, including me, that there's a bit of concern the PM might have overdone it a bit on the coronavirus, kind of helping a little bit to fuel some of the panic that's going on. Now, it's a delicate balance, and you know, if he didn't go that way, the PM would probably equally be criticised. But we saw the PM come out and make a big announcement last week, for example, on activating the pandemic plan, or looking to when it hadn't even been activated. And he's been out often on coronavirus. He made the point to the party room yesterday that every question was on coronavirus because that's what Australians were talking about. Yet in the same breath, the Prime Minister tells us to go about our daily business. So if we're going about our daily business, why is the whole of question time about coronavirus? Why are we hearing so much about the PM from coronavirus, even to the extent where he's saying, I'm not going to take questions on anything else because Australians are interested in coronavirus? Let's hear him saying that yesterday.
I'm going to focus on coronavirus at the moment. If we've exhausted the interest on coronavirus, I'm happy to deal with other matters. But I've got to say, I think the coronavirus is an issue of much greater concern to Australians today than the politics of Canberra.
Now, admittedly, it's a delicate balance, as I said earlier, but one senior member of the government wondered out loud to me if the daily briefings were ideal, because it kind of puts fuel on the fire to things like panic buying. One thing seems certain: Scott Morrison could be stronger in his messaging to the public to tell people not to panic, in my view. He could have done that in question time. He did that, admittedly, in his press conference yesterday. He didn't use the term "don't panic," though, and one senior source said to me that there's a belief in the Prime Minister's office that if he says "don't panic," that's when people in fact do panicking. It's like saying there's no crisis. So it's a bit of it's a tough issue to tread here. But it seems to me, from some of the incidents we've seen out, the people climbing over each other to get hold of toilet paper, this mass panic that's going on, the Prime Minister needs to give people a bit more reassurance to try and calm them down in this circumstance, I think.
Yeah, and certainly panic to the sort of level that we haven't seen, I think, for a long, long time over this issue. So let's see if there's any change in tone from the government on that, the PM and others.